title of this video was going to be Process. It's a pleasure. I'm finding the word, or my understanding of the word pleasure, rabble, to be applicable to process, to self-honesty, to realising myself honestly, though I slink the word pleasure up, and it's a noun. Actually, it can be turned into a verb as well. Noun, pleasure, a feeling of enjoyment or satisfaction. A feeling, well, feeling, it's an imaginary thing, that in this context anyway, so that suggests it's applicable to, pleasure is a feeling of enjoyment or satisfaction. We'll have to look up the word enjoyment or satisfaction, I suppose. Imagining I'm enjoying or I am satisfied. I mean, even if you sort of accepted feelings were of any relevance, which no, I'm discussing pleasure, not feelings, though. Even if feelings had any relevance in this context, a feeling of enjoyment or satisfaction, the feeling in that context is, in a pleasure context, is imaginary, so you're imagining enjoyment or satisfaction. Number two, a source of such a feeling. The source of the imaginary feeling, the thing that's in that could fit perhaps. Number three is very interesting though. One's will, desire, wish, preference or inclination. Well, there are those I know that would argue that one's will and one's desire are contradictory, they're opposites. They're to even realise one's will, one has to remove desire, wish, preference sounds like judgment, inclination, it's desire again, isn't it? Number four, recreation, enjoyment. Well, it's not so much recreation as a task, enjoying a task. Gratification of a sensual kind. Enjoyment. We have to look the word enjoyment up actually here. In this context of using the dictionary, it's etymology, 14th century, from French plaisir. Plaisir. It often makes me wonder that, so in the 13th century there was no pleasure because the word didn't exist at all. I think I'm off the track on that supposition though. And then pleasure, what is pleasure? I mean, just from a layman's term, from the street, pleasure, well, people say sex is pleasure, though I'm not too sure myself. When you're thrusting your hips backwards and forwards on top of your partner, I'm male, so I don't know what sex is for a female. You will often, and most definitely these days, it's 20 years since I had sex with a physical partner. you will reach a point with your thrusting where you will become just thrusting and wondering, well, it depends how aware you are of yourself, really. And then the thing is, well, you're pleasuring someone else, and so the pleasure is in not so much how you're experiencing yourself whilst you are pleasuring another, it is in the pleasuring of another. And then is orgasm pleasure? I question that also myself. Pleasure, gratification of a sensual kind. Well, gratification, what does that mean, gratification? I'd have to look that up again to definitively talk about it. Though at the moment of orgasm, just remember the word pleasure. Make your own minds up. I don't see orgasm as pleasure. It's something. Pleasure. And then once, whilst having sex with a female, I've only ever had sex with females actually, though once having sex with a partner, I willed the word love all the way through, making love, all the way through the thrusting, and it was very interesting. And as pleasure is definitive, it goes without understanding the meaning of it definitively in the lexicon. Perhaps could be said to be one of the most pleasurable in that context of sexual experiences. I'm sort of a little I don't know what the word is though. I'll be able to watch this video back, and in that context I'm now going to look up the word enjoyment and the other words that enjoyment, enjoying, deriving pleasure. See, you're on a loop there. I want to know what pleasure is. Pleasure is enjoyment. What's enjoyment? Enjoyment is deriving pleasure. Enjoyment, the possession of something that gives pleasure. 3, happiness. This is the first time I've ever done this, looping around the words in this dictionary I use. I often find it with the more scholarly ones. I have no choice to put words in there that I don't know the meaning of at all, in any context. And now I'm sort of realising that I don't actually know the meaning of the words that I'm using at all. Otherwise, sort of points of process for me is words, and the words I'm using, because I'm certainly not living the words that I'm using, and I'm in some polarity play out whereby I say a thing and immediately, not so much immediately anymore, there was a time when I'd say a thing and I would immediately find myself doing the opposite of what I said I was going to do. These days it can take a couple of days before it manifests, interestingly. Process is a pleasure. Pleasure process. Processing pleasure here. I need to look up the word process actually, what does that mean? And I'm now going to have to relearn the English language and then edit it somewhat as well, I don't know the words to explain what I want to say, which has been a state of affairs, processes, a series of operations performed during manufacture, a series of stages which a product, etc. passes through, resulting in the development or transformation of it, an operation or procedure. There's an anatomy definition, of legal definition, and any series of changes, especially natural ones. It gives the example of the aging process. That's the noun. As a verb, it's to put something through the required process, to deal with appropriately, to prepare for marketing. The computing one and a legal one, and it's from the 14th century Latin, processus. I'm going to run out of video time. I lost one video already today for making it under 15 minutes, and YouTube times a minute different than real time, space time. For some reason I can't understand how that occurs, because I know how you can stretch time digitally, though it's a mathematical computation. And so, well, it does it every time, so don't make videos longer than 14 minutes, you won't lose any, Anthony. I made it with 14:49 when I finished chatting. It was called We Are Chat. Process is a pleasure. I am seriously enjoying my process of self-realization, honestly. I am at times, though. What was the word I was coming to mind this morning? I'm not lost in any way, though. I mean, how could I be lost? I think the word lost, not knowing where one is. I am here. I know directly where I am as a consequence of processing myself with the tools provided by destiny, in that I did not need to join anything other than the computer to the internet, and the computer to the electricity supply. And perhaps I am joining the human race, no inverted commas, as a consequence. Fear. I am fearing not being able to watch my video. I forgive myself that I have led myself to fear losing my video as a consequence of my distractions. I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to fear distracting myself. You can tell yourself what time you want to wake up the next day, and wake up that time. Done it often. Strangely, it's not something I remember often, though I have done it. In gratitude. Merci. Teşekkür ederim. Ciao.